I don't mean to be so uptight, but my heart's been hurt a couple times by a couple guys that didn't treat me right. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna lie.
Alexa, play Meant to Be.
Okay.
If it's meant to be, it'll be, it'll be. Baby, just let it be. If it's meant to be, it'll be.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get access to over 50 million songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
You are live at the Literary Lounge with your host, Destinee D, bringing you the newest and the brightest of the literary world right to your ear hole. Every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, listen up, and learn something. This is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. Each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We are taking out the time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. The New Author Spotlight is a platform that allows us to ask up to 10 questions or more to give you, the audience, the most in-depth current information about each writer in their literary piece. We will have a new guest every week. Stay tuned. Hey, 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 it's your girl, Destinee D, live on WTLR Radio, and you are live at the Literary Lounge. Today's date is December the 8th, 2018, and we are on episode 29. Our special guest for today is Shelly Lee, the author of the new book, God Spoke and I Listened, and she did that by self-publishing. So we have a 1 full hour of a literary questionnaire where we'll find out more about her new book, and also some contact information about how to reach out to her and grab a copy of this new book. So let's see if this is her on the line. Hello, Shelly, are you there?
I'm here.
Great, great. So first and foremost, I want to thank you for being on the show today and giving us the opportunity to know a little bit more about you and about your book. So can you introduce yourself to the world, please?
Hello, everyone. I am Shelly Lee. I am 45 years old. I am a single parent of 2 children. My daughter is 24. My son is 22. And I am just doing all that I can to reach the purpose that God has for me in this life.
All right. So let us know exactly how you began writing. What prompted you to become an author?
In school, I was always told that I wrote well by my teachers, elementary, junior high, high school, even college. So while I was in my elementary and high school years, I always kept tablets, and when I attended church services, I always wrote down messages that I felt like the pastor, God was saying to me to apply to my life. So lo and behold, I had like 7 or 8 tablets with just different messages on through the years. And so I always wrote things that I was feeling, things that I heard, or just in general, writing was a way for me to express myself. So that's where the writing part came in. But then in August 2015, that's when God had me to write God Spoke and I Listened, based on all those messages that I had in those tablets.
Okay. Oh, that's so neat that you actually did that. So is this book more like a daily word type of book where you get one message per day, or is it an overall journal of just everything that you've written?
It's basically about things that I've overcame, like relationships, problems that, I've been told by different pastors that everything that you go through, you can find an answer to in the Bible. So I had relationship trouble, so I went to the Bible to search for, how to handle those, money troubles, how to handle those. So it's basically testimonies of how I overcame different situations that I encountered.
Okay. So it's almost like a self-help book that
Right.
that shows what you did in order to help yourself. Okay?
Right, and if he helped me, he can help someone else.
Right. So how long did it actually take you to compile everything that you put together in this book? Was it mostly all just those excerpts, or did you have to do any formatting?
Mostly it was everything. Everything basically was already written. He gave me the chapter titles. He gave me the scriptures to go to it, and everything. But during that time, I was also going to college for my bachelor degree. So I was writing the book and going to college at the same time. So it didn't really take me any time to write it, though.
Okay. So with that being said, can you give us an example of like one of the excerpts from your book?
The first one that's near and dear to my heart is called "Have You Done Your Laundry?" And that was the very first message that I ever heard from God, and that was the very first time I ever heard God speak to me, which was the very first message that I ever heard. If he had been speaking to me at that time, I wasn't listening. But for this message, I heard him. I was laying in my bed one morning, and it was nighttime, not morning. I was laying in my bed one night, and I just kept hearing a small voice, and I'm like, okay, what is this? Who is this? I really thought I was going out of my mind. And I was listening, and I said, Lord, if this is you talking to me, then help me to remember everything that you said to me once I fall asleep. When I get up the next morning, help me to remember everything. And so I was able to remember it. And basically this message, "Have you done your laundry?" it compares how God will wash us and make us new in comparison to how you do your clothes. When you do your clothes, you got to sort out your clothes, the whites, the colors, and all that. Well, God, we have our sins. So God, he'll wash away our sins also in the same way that we wash our clothes. We got the laundry detergent, God's blood, God's grace, God's mercy. So it compares all of that together.
Okay, that's a good analogy that you broke down, because a lot of people I've heard use a similar analogy where even heard it in a song once where they said took the Savior's red blood and washed the black sins and came out white as snow. So I've heard those analogies before. So that's actually very comforting to hear that come from your writing. Sometimes it's very hard to, go into the spiritual realm when it comes to writing, novels and everything, because you have so many different people that you want to reach out to and so many generations that you want to reach out to at the same time. But you have so many different adverse situations where you have people who have lost faith, you have people who have a different belief system, you have, people that don't believe at all. And it's very hard for some to accept this type of word. You have your Bible fanatics, you have, like I said, the atheists, and then you have some that are just confused because they feel like they've tried everything that they know how to do right, to be right, but it looks like they just not getting what they feel like they deserve. Almost it's like they're just getting hit wave after wave, and it's not letting up. But, that's where faith comes in, and that's where, that release that you give all those things up to him, that's how you survive. Because if you continue to dwell on the things that's wrong, they're going to overpower and they're going to accumulate.
Right.
But
Right.
the overall goal is to take it one day at a time, one situation at a time, meet those individual small goals towards the bigger goal, you know. So
right.
I really applaud you for, you know, doing this type of a book, you know, because a lot of people need this type of encouragement and a lot of people need this type of help. Now, my question for you is, what has your response been when it comes to this book? Like, have you gotten, you know, not so much as a review. I don't mean like book review, because there's a lot of people out here that don't believe that women should give any kind of spoken word when it comes to spirituality. So have you come in contact with anybody like that?
Honestly, I haven't. Nobody has reached out to me and said you shouldn't write this, you shouldn't have wrote this. I haven't got any kind of opposition towards it, face to face or on a written level.
Okay. Well, that's a blessing within itself, because we have, like I said, it's so many people who believe that women are not supposed to speak on anything that deals with the Most High. Like, we're not supposed to preach, we're not supposed to teach, we're not supposed to give any kind of foundation or anything other than to other women and to small children. So when you reach the masses with a book on a grand scale, it's like some people are very, I guess, touchy when it comes to a subject this big coming from a female. So that's actually pretty good that you haven't ran into any of that. So that's a blessing within itself. So see, how long have you been writing totally? Like, I mean, as far as professionally, when you put this book out?
So I did God Spoken, I listened in 2015. God has a way, He's already given me all of my books that so far I am supposed to write. So in total, I think it's either 6 to 8 books that I already have the titles and have the material that I'm preparing for. And He always has me to write in twos for some reason. So God Spoken, I listened. I was writing that one, and I was also writing, which is the second book that came out in 2016. It was August the 2nd, 2016. God Spoke came out August the 2nd, 2015 for some reason. But anyway, the second book is the Shelter series, and it's going to be, I think, about 6 books, if I'm not mistaken, altogether that goes in that series. And so that first one was the Shelter series and Unknown Love, book 1. And so that one came out next. And all of the Shelter series is going to deal with love, different aspects of love. So this one was an unknown love. I grew up without a father in the home, and so that affected me to some degree. And so the Shelter series talks about what happened when I met him for the first time in my life.
Oh, wow.
So it's inspired. Okay. The Shelter series is inspired by some of my life events. So some is true, some is not, but it's inspired by it.
Yeah, and it's funny that you should mention, you know, that you grew up in a home where there was only one parent, and then you're a single parent yourself. It's like a cycle, almost. Not intentionally, but it's just the cards that were dealt. And you know, and it's kind of funny that most of the people that are in different situations, like I have noticed that there's a few of the inmates that I've interviewed over time who actually had both parents, which is crazy. They actually had both parents. They knew what they were doing was wrong. Some of them were even kids of pastors that wanted to buck against the actual stereotype of them being a preacher's kid. So they did more than the average to seem you know, a little bit more edgy, and ended up getting themselves in more trouble than need be. So, you know, sometimes though there's a differential between the stereotypes, and then sometimes it's like a cookie-cutted type of situation, like that no one can help. Like, and I've also noticed that it doesn't really matter what type of family base you have. It's all individual people. Like I have 2 other sisters, and none of us are alike. We were raised by the same mom, raised by the same father, and we are completely 3 different people.
Yeah,
So it's like you can't really go by, family situations and stuff like that. But so how has it been as far as doing your self-publishing and stuff like that? How did that come about?
Well, first of all, it's funny you mentioned preacher's kids because my dad was a preacher. My dad was a preacher. He was a bishop. He was a missionary. He traveled all over Africa. And I'll leave that right there. So the self-publishing has been interesting. I enjoy that aspect because you have the choice between doing a traditional publisher, which is like a publishing company, and doing it yourself. But a lot of times, if the publisher is not legit, and sometimes you don't know they're legit, then you end up getting taken. Whereas self-publishing, you don't have to worry about that aspect, but the royalties are slow in coming to you. So it's kind of a balance. You have to, really do your research on what you want to do as far as self-publishing or getting a publisher.
Right, and it's funny that you should mention that because, I became a publisher after self-publishing, believe it or not. I did my first series, and then I did a couple of standalones, and a lot of people saw my work. And then it got to the point to where they asked me, do you think that you can help me? And it just grew and evolved into a publishing company. And then as a writer, I noticed that there was a lack of support when it came to the black writer. So that's where all of the other platforms kind of came into play with the interviewing on the radio, the magazine that kind of gives spotlights, to kind of boost your morale and also boost your sales and give you opportunities and stuff like that the average person wouldn't have got. So that's why, I formulated Transparency Library, because there's blurred lines. Everybody deserves a right to get some kind of help when it comes to, getting their stuff out there. So this is why we do what we do, to get you out there, to help you out, when it comes to your book and stuff like that. And this interview actually has an opportunity for you to be one-on-one with your audience. Like, you get to tell them, everything that you want them to know about your work, how you got started, and all that good stuff. So it helps you, it helps the reader get more personal, connected to you, to know where you came from, to get some kind of feedback of who you are and why you began writing. Now, when it comes to self-publishing, did you have a difficult time getting that first book out, or was it pretty much, cut and dry, copy and paste, or did you need help?
It was cut and dry.
Okay. That's good. Because, when I first started out, there was, a few things that I had looked at. I really was trying to get, somebody else to publish my books at first. But then I noticed that the price ranges were extremely high, borderline to where you almost had to get a small loan just to publish the book. So that's what kind of forced me into, that's what kind of forced me into self-publishing, because it was like $899 for a book to get published, and I was like, that's a little bit too much money for me to be putting out for one book. And that was just one book. That wasn't a series. That was one book. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure something else out. So, that's where the self-publishing came into play. And it was, like you said, pretty much cut and dry once you learn the system and stuff like that. And then we had a situation where the system I was using kind of converted with the Kindle versions and stuff like that. So it's like it all kind of like meshed into one system. So then we had to learn that system all over again. But overall, it looks like it's a pretty good format and everything. So you said you had one other book that you released around the same time. Can you give us a brief description of that release?
The Shelter series?
Yes, the first book that you said already done.
Yeah. That was the Shelter series that Unknown Love, book one. That's the one that talks about growing up without a father and what happened when we first met for the first time.
So
it was true. I don't want to say it again.
Well, I was wondering, like, how did all of that come about? Like, how did you come up with that concept, and what was it like to actually have that sit down with him? Or do you mind speaking on that?
Well, I was always resentful because I couldn't understand how you could be a pastor, a bishop, travel all over Africa, and not spend time with your one and only daughter. So I was very resentful. And me and my mom, she would be like, your daddy. I said, I don't have a daddy. I have a father. Because to me, a daddy was, in my eyes growing up, a daddy was there for you, blah, blah, blah. And a father wasn't. That was my own definition.
Right.
So I did get to meet him for the first time when I was 21 or 22, somewhere around there. And believe it or not, he was on his sick bed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it was very, right. I was very unprepared. Yeah. So basically I met him on his sick bed. Then I got a chance to meet him again. By this time he had went blind from the disease that he had. And then the next time I saw him, he was dead. So 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very heartfelt book, and so but that's why it's called An Unknown Love, because I never knew, the love of a father. Yeah. Right.
But now I want to get personal, but I don't want to really really deep. But was there a moment within those 3 visits that you had the opportunity to let go of all the hate and resentment?
I did. I have. After the first visit, we ended up going back home. He lived in Virginia, and we got back home to Texas. And I was like, okay, that first visit, okay, I didn't see him. I don't care to see him again. Well, my mom, she talked me into going up there again. By this time, he had went blind, and we did do a little bit of talking and whatnot. But got back home to Texas, and, I kind of said to myself, and I'm like, okay, I know I got to forgive. I don't know why. I really didn't get the answers to my questions of why he wasn't in my life. But I had to forgive.
Right.
So what happened is I ended up being called and letting my mama and them let me know that he had passed. And so she had told me that I'm going to have to go to the funeral by myself, because all those other times she went up there with me. And I'm like, what do you mean by myself? I can't go up there by myself and see him. And by this time I had a 1-year-old daughter. She was born then. So he was able to see my my first child. How did ever I ended up, I had to forgive, and so that was how I was able to deal with going that last time to visit him. But my son, he's named after him, so my son is named after my dad, so that kind of keeps apart. And my son looks just like him.
Wow. So that's like,
so I was in mourning.
Homage. Yeah. But you know what? I want to tell you, like, so bad that, there's a lot of situations that we as individuals cannot control. We don't know why.
Right.
Things went the way they went. A lot of times back in the day, even if a marriage looked good, it wasn't always a good marriage, and
right.
Like my grandmother told me, for the longest time, everybody thought my granddaddy was like the best man on the planet. But in actuality, nobody knew behind closed doors what was going on because people didn't tell their business. They kind of secluded themselves and kept all of that stuff to themselves. So you never knew, one was being hurt or anything like that because they never let other people in to know those things. So then you have some mothers who are like, I'm not going to stand for that. I'm leaving with me and my children. They did stuff out of safety for the kids. So one day, you may, if you have the opportunity, you may want to just sit down with your mom and be like,
well, I
Mom,
did sit down. I sat down with her, and I don't have too many details from her either. I love my mama to death, but I didn't get too much of an answer that was satisfactory, I guess. So I just kind of backed off and accept what it is right now.
Yeah, well, prayerfully you'll have that opportunity, to get those questions answered as to why. But a lot of people, when it was traumatic, they really don't want to speak on it. When it's because it rehashes bruises and old cuts and wounds, and it's hard to talk about something when you had to make the decision to say, I'm leaving. So you may just have to give her time. She might even come to you with the information when you least expect it. I would say, every time that you make a prayer for answers, it gets sent up, and he understands your frustration, and he knows that you want to know. So there's a possibility that you may find out by her willingly giving you the information because she knows that you want to know. Yeah, so don't push it. You just go to God with that and let him handle it, and he does it in his own time. And, just be prepared for the answer when you receive it. But I'm so glad that you was able to come to terms with him and forgive. But the thing is, you're not forgiving him for what happened between him and your mom, or the fact that he wasn't in your life. You're forgiving him for you, for yourself. To get that bitterness, to get that hatred out of your heart for something you have no idea. You have no control. Because, there's a lot of people who are dead and gone right now who still have folks here still mad at them for the things that they did before they left.
You're right.
You give people power. You give people power when you shouldn't. And then, if the person is not already gone, and they still here, they're sleeping at night. You're worrying about it. They're
going on with their life, and they don't know what's going on with their life. Right. So that's why that when an older person say you have to forgive somebody, you're not forgiving them for whatever they transgressed against you. You're forgiving it for you. You're getting that stress. You're getting that anguish. You're getting that hate out of your heart because it's only a fuel for destruction because you end up saying things you don't mean. You end up doing things you probably wouldn't have done. And then there's a level of resentment because you went out of character and you know that that's not who you really truly are. You did it out of hurt. So it's like you find yourself in a position where letting them get that from you kind of relieves you. It helps you to cope with the situation as opposed to them feeling better about the situation because they still have to give an account. You know what I'm saying? They still have to give an account to what they did. But at the end of the day, you don't have that stress on yourself. You don't have that vex in your spirit. And that's the main thing, not to have no kind of malice in your heart or any vexing of your spirit because then it throws everything off. So I'm glad that you had the opportunity to see him, speak to him, get that off your chest, and you did a good thing by, bringing your son, into that covenant with your dad by dropping his name, for your son. Because I mean, like I said, we never know what's going on with our parents, whether if the parents stay together or the parents divide. Because like my father was home,
but he was a rolling boulder. He was more than a stone.
Okay, she said a boulder. Okay.
Right. So I have other brothers and sisters out there that I probably will never meet. I have two that I know of that were by another woman before he married my mom that we're connected to. So, there's a whole nother level when it comes to that. And it's like, regardless of how my father acted outside of the marriage, he was still a father, and he had to give an account to his transgressions,
True.
But at the end of the day, I could not judge him for the things that he did because he didn't do them to me. He didn't step outside of my relationship. That's something that he had to do to, dealing with my mom. But to be funny with it was kind of crazy. But even though there was that infidelity there was still love. In the midst of it, there was still that love between the two of them. And she was there when he was on his deathbed. She stuck by him even though she knew what it was. So every woman makes the decision to either stay or go. It just depends on how bad it was and what was involved. That's the thing. You really won't know until your mom literally breaks down and say, well, baby, I did it for you. Because with the situation that was going on, I had to make that decision. It was either me and you living on our own or me and you staying with him and not being safe or something like that, Right. But all of those answers will come in time. Like I said, just pray about it. Give it to the Most High. He'll handle it. He'll give it to you. Sometimes he'll go beyond them and supersede them and give it to you in a dream. You know? So you'll get your answers. If that's what you really, truly, wholeheartedly want, he'll give you the answers. And you just got to be patient because he may be working on your mama to just drop it on her own.
I don't too much worry about it. Yeah, I don't too much worry about it. Like I said, once I seen him at the funeral and everything, I pretty much, moved on from it. But she's giving me some details and whatnot. But as I guess I should have had more of an explanation from him on why than her.
Right.
But I don't harp on it. Yeah.
Well, that's good, and I'm glad that you had the opportunity to like get all of that together and have that reckoning, and then were able to say goodbye with that was good that you had that opportunity. So let me ask you a few other questions. Now, when it comes to both of these books, how did you do the releasing? Where can they find copies of your books right now?
You can go to my website. It is www.booksbyarthurshelleylee.com. And both of those books can be purchased via PayPal on that website. Okay.
So can you give us like all of your contact information when it comes to your social media and all of that good stuff, like where people can find you and message you and things of that nature?
I don't know all my contacts by heart, but you can definitely reach me at facebook.com/ArthurShellyLee or facebook.com/ / I think it is, Shelly Lee. I am on Instagram and the other ones, but I don't know them, the links by heart. But Facebook is the best place to reach me.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, if somebody wanted to purchase a copy of your book, what would you tell them? What would be your sales pitch to get them to buy your book?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. For God Spoken, I Listened, I guess my pitch would be we all go through things in our life and we don't know the answers to it. And the Bible says there's an answer for everything, and God Spoken, I Listened deals with some of these answers. So look at that, purchase God Spoken, I Listened. and you'll be able to get answers to your questions regarding relationships, finances, dealing with neighbors, dealing with coworkers, filling at the bottom in the pits, and things like that. It covers chapters and issues such as that.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the audience that you're trying to reach out to, who exactly would that be?
Now, that's another question. I struggle with that because I feel like I want to inspire everyone. And I've talked to many different people, and they're saying you need a target audience. You need a target audience. Well, everybody can learn something. Now, if you ask me what my passion is single parent, because I'm a single parent, and I want to see the single parents overcome just as well as anybody else. So I guess it would start with single parents being my target audience.
Yeah, just on a personal question, did you find being a single parent difficult, or did you find like
I hate it. I hate it. I mean, I a little bit about me, my children, I did have to receive government assistance for a short time, not knocking anybody on it, but I was the type of person that was on it and wanted to be off of it because I knew that I can do better and I knew that I can provide with the help of the Lord. So a quick testimony, I had needed help with a bill. And at this point in time, I was just on housing. I wasn't receiving TANF, AFDC, or none of that stuff. My income was my job. So I went to this facility and asked them for help with a bill. And she said, "Are you on TANF?" I said, "No, ma'am." She said, "Did you get money from the government?" I said, "No, ma'am." I said, "My only income is my job." She told me, "Well, it's not our fault that you can't budget your money. We can't help you." And I had to leave. So, yeah, so my passion is single parents who are trying to make it on their own, not knocking government assistance, but without receiving government assistance. I want to let them know that you can do it. You are able to do it.
Right. And, I think that is like the worst thing that they could possibly do is say to somebody who's trying to do right or do better.
Right.
And they can't because people are holding them back or sidetracking them to the point to where they feel like they can't even get help when they need it the most. Like I've seen on so many levels where they have people who are abusing the system to get thousands of dollars worth of food.
Thank you.
And all kinds of different things, and they are able to work. They just choose not to because they know that they can get that check. And I'm like, what about the ones who are working, who are not making enough, who can't meet the demand that everybody is trying to hit them up for? I've got friends right now who their house payments are almost 3 times what they were when they first bought the house. The light bills are twice the amount that they were when they first bought the house. So it's like you're doing all you know how. Your income is not increasing. The bills are increasing, and it's not like you're buying new stuff or getting new credit cards. And this debt ceiling is terrible. And like you said, being a single mom is no joke. I myself was a single mother of 2 children. I had a little boy and a little girl. My son is 14, and my daughter died when she was 2, going on 3. So, those things you learn to, adjust to. And like I said, I had older women who were like, just take it one day at a time, survive the day. Do what you can for the day. Just make sure you have a roof over your head, clothes on your back, shoes on your feet, food in your stomach. Make sure your babies are good, and everything else will fall in line. Because I had so many instances where I had to start over, where there was no money, there was no job, there was no vehicle there, even if I wanted a job, I had no way of transportation to get there. So it was like, a roadblock at every turn. But luckily, I knew enough to pray about my situation, to give what I was going through to the Most High, to give all of those problems and stuff to Him and allow Him to fight that battle. And things got a whole lot better on their own. I didn't have to do anything but be obedient, and I didn't have to sacrifice anything other than, the other things that happen, in life. I wasn't expecting to lose my daughter at such a young age, but it was God's plan, and I had to live past it because I had one other child that I had to provide for. So it wasn't like I could just give up on life all at once. It was more so I had to do for him because he was looking to me for everything. Now, don't get me wrong. After time, after you, get child support and stuff like that, if you lucky enough to get it, you're able to use that to benefit the child. But 3/4 of the time, it's not enough to sustain, a child. It's just enough to, make ends meet or to grab something extra that the child might want and things of that nature. But it's not a full type income that you can use to take care of a child. It's barely enough to keep things going when it comes to kids. And don't get it twisted. I'm on assistance right now. Like I said, I get food stamps. I don't get as much as everybody else, but I get enough to feed me and my son. And I work for myself. So what I do is what I do, and 3/4 of the time, there's no money involved. There's more support being given to those who, need the support. That's why when I say a donation, I'm not looking for it to go in my pocket. I'm looking for it to keep these options open, to keep the magazine going, keep the radio on the air and things of that nature. I'm not looking for no get-rich-quick scheme. I'm looking to aid other writers. So that's why I do what I do. It's just to give y'all an opportunity, because I know that there's a lack of support. It really is. It's a lack of support. So it's good to have somebody in your corner. Now, I would like
and
to
congratulations on your books, too.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
I'm actually kind of excited, that the magazines are taking off. Amazon is making them, bestsellers right now. December's issue of Transparency Library Monthly is #1 in catalogs on Amazon as a new release. So, if money comes behind it, that's awesome. If it doesn't, the information is still out there and everybody can use it, because there's a lot of good stuff in those magazines. It's like holistic care for those who don't want to rely on medication to solve problems, because medications are the problem. Those side effects are the problem. You can't take one thing and it gives you 5 other problems, and then you have to take something else to combat those 5 problems. So it's like, it's not meant to heal. It's not meant to help. It's meant to dig into people's pockets or either draw from their insurance. And I try not to allow my people or people that I know or people that I associate with to endure those type of things when it comes to medicinal things. So I try to really push the holistic thing, and I try to push all the black authors that are on the radio network with me, and just to give and those there are stories that are in the magazines that apply directly to us, stories that we should know that may not hit the airways. So it's a lot of good information in those magazines, and I'm very proud of how it's coming along. I mean, in April that'll be a full year, so we're doing well. Yeah, so it's awesome. And then I have a new book I'm working on that's going to drop this Christmas, so I'm definitely busy.
I see that.
Yeah, so I wanna give you the opportunity to give any kind of a shout out to anybody that you would like to, and give, like, I guess your reflection um on your interview and things of that nature.
Well, my shout out goes to the person who's been in my corner since day one, and that's my mother. Without God and my mother, some of the things that I have encountered, went through, endured, I wouldn't have been able to make it. She's been in my corner. I love her dearly. She's like my mother, my best friend, sister, all in one. So that's my shout out to her, most definitely. As far as everyone else, we can all. There's a chance for all of us to win. It shouldn't be no type of competition or I'm better than her or I'm better than him. There's a spot. We all have a purpose that we have to fill, and we should work on helping each other instead of tearing each other down.
Yes,
And as far
I
as this,
completely agree.
yeah. And I thank you for giving me this chance to share my story and a little bit about Shelly Lee on your platform. And I applaud you for all the wonderful things that you got going on and the more that's coming your way.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, like I would definitely like to extend a warm, heartfelt thank you to you first and foremost for actually taking out the time. I know things were kind of iffy at first, and I'm glad that you were able to actually do the show. I'm glad that everything was great and it went without a hitch. Hopefully you found that honey and you were able to get everything situated. And
I did.
bless. So, with that being said, I want to thank you for taking out the time out of your busy schedule to be on the radio with me today, because, like I say on every show, this show would be nothing if you weren't here. It would just be me rambling. But I really do appreciate having you here. So, with that being said, I want you to give just a small recap of both of your books that are releasing, and also where they can find you on social media.
God Spoken, I Listened, testimonies on overcoming different situations in your life. They're wrote to inspire you and let you know that God will direct you through every situation. You just have to hear what he says and do what he says. The Shelter series and Unknown Love, Book 1, Growing Up Without a Father, and What Happened When We Met. There's also Book 2, the Shelter series, A First Love, Book 2. That's coming out next year, this year, 2019. And pre-orders are ready for those also. All 3 books can be purchased at www.booksbyauthorshelleylee.com.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're getting ready for 2019. Now, let me ask you something right quick. Do you have any events or book signings in the near future that we should know about?
I have some that I'm working on in the background. I'm just trying to confirm dates. And I'm planning on hitting the Houston area in 2019 on various different platforms. But right now I'm getting dates together to go out there and make some connections and support and be supported.
Oh, wow. That is so good. So what I want to do real quick is I want to take a short break, and I'll be right.
I'm here. Okay, I can't hear you no more.
This is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. Each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We are taking out the time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. The new Author Spotlight is a platform that allows us to ask up to 10 questions or more to give you, the audience, the most in-depth current information about each writer in their literary piece. We will have a new guest every week. Stay tuned. Tune in next week and we'll have another author on the Literary Lounge. Okay, guys? Be blessed. You are live at the Literary Lounge with your host, Destinee D, bringing you the newest and the brightest of the literary world right to your ear hole. Every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, listen up, and learn something.
You gotta be so cold to make it in this world. Yeah, you're a natural, living your life cutthroat. You gotta be so cold. Yeah, you're a natural.
Alexa, play Imagine Dragons.
Okay.
'Cause you're a natural. I'm feeling hot as stone. You gotta be.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get access to over 50 million songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.
I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. Ooh, ooh.
Alexa, play Whitney Houston.
Okay.
I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody.
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get access to over 50 million songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.